I never thought my life would turn into something that felt like a scripted drama, one filled with lies, betrayal, and self-destruction. But sometimes, when you love someone too much, you don't see the damage until you're standing in the ruins. For 20 years, I was devoted to my husband. I loved him. I lived for him. I would have done anything to make him happy. That's how I ended up in the darkest chapter of my life. It started with whispers, suggestions, little nudges that seemed harmless at first. "Wouldn't it be exciting if you explored a little?" he asked me one night, his eyes gleaming with something unfamiliar. At first, I laughed it off. "Not my thing," I said. But he didn't stop. The idea became a conversation. The conversation became a plea. And before I knew it, it was a demand. I should have said no. But I didn't. He told me it was just a fantasy. A harmless thrill. He wanted me to experience other men, and in return, he promised it would make our marriage stronger. That it would make him want me even more. And because I was terrified of losing him, I did it. I stepped into a world I never wanted to be part of. I found myself in the arms of men who didn't love me, who barely even saw me as a person. I ruined marriages, some already fractured, some barely holding on. I watched as women, blissfully unaware, carried on with their lives while I became a secret in their husbands' phones, a hidden message, a whisper of deceit in the dead of night. I hated every moment of it. But I told myself it was for my marriage. For 2 years, I lived a life that wasn't mine. I forced myself into hotel rooms with men whose touch made my skin crawl. I had conversations that felt empty, as if I were playing a role in someone else's fantasy. The guilt gnawed at me. Every time I came home, I scrubbed myself raw, trying to wash away the shame. But it never left. And then, the inevitable happened. My husband, the man I was trying so desperately to please, betrayed me in the worst way. He had an affair. After everything I had done, after every sacrifice, he still went looking for something else. I fell apart. I spent nights curled in a ball on the floor, gasping for breath between sobs. The guilt, the shame, the heartbreak, it was suffocating. I felt like I was drowning in everything I had done, everything I had lost. My self-esteem was shattered. I looked in the mirror and saw a stranger staring back at me. And just when I thought I couldn't lose anything more, I realized the full weight of my actions. One of the men I had been with, someone whose marriage was already fragile, left his wife. He stayed with me for 7 years. 7 years of trying to justify that what we did wasn't completely wrong. But deep down, I knew. I knew that my actions had helped push that marriage over the edge. Christmas night. That was when everything unraveled. His wife figured it out. The messages. The late-night disappearances. The excuses. She finally saw the truth, and that was the night their marriage ended. I should have felt something, relief, maybe, or validation. Instead, I felt empty. Karma doesn't forget. My ex-husband married the woman he cheated on me with. The woman who, at the time, was engaged to someone else, someone she had been with for over 15 years. It's funny how betrayal finds its own way of circling back. And me, I walked away from dating entirely. I lost faith in love. In people. I see couples laughing together, and all I can think about is how many of them are living a lie. How many women don't know their husbands have secrets? How many men are playing a game that someone else is losing? I became a single mother. I work hard, every day, just to make ends meet. I spoil my kids as much as I can because they are the only good thing left in my life. I see my parents when I can, visit my best friend every few months, and try to convince myself that one day, I'll feel whole again. But the scars don't fade. It's been years, and I still carry the weight of my past. I still have nights where the guilt keeps me awake, where I replay every mistake in my head, wondering how different things could have been if I had just said no from the start. Maybe this is my punishment. Maybe this is what I deserve. Or maybe, this is just what happens when love turns into obsession. When you give up everything for someone who was never going to stay. I don't know if I'll ever fully recover. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: if you have to destroy yourself to keep someone else, they were never worth keeping.